Monday at 6 p.m. Central. And it is February the 20th, 2023. My name is Tim Damron. I am the director and the founder of the House of Yah Community Outreach. And what we are is we are a full-blown nonprofit here in Bexar County, Texas. And what we do is we help take care of our homeless vets. We see a lot of homeless vets, and they're neglected. Am I a vet myself? Nope, I'm not. It's just what Yahweh called me to do. And this is why I do what I do. I love our vets. Our vets are the people that really paid the biggest price for every freedom, for every breath of air conditioning you breathe in your car. You can thank a vet for that because he probably designed it. And you guys with your water filter systems, you know what? You can thank a vet for that too because he probably perfected and invented that too, not the Culligan man. I assure you. So I got to tell you, I don't believe that anybody should be thrown away, but I know as I've learned through this waking up process that people really in society are excluded and for all practical purposes thrown away. Yeah, we got a lot of groups like that. You know, our minority groups are treated that way historically. Okay, let's just not even go there. And and then you've got your personal status. Where does your family rank in all this stuff? You know, and and what that does is that keeps everybody all in different cages. And if you can keep everybody in different cages, you can control these people, you see. I'll tell you, look at a penitentiary situation. Look how they'll have look at the guard to inmate ratio. Just think about it. I mean, even if you watch TV, just think about it. How are they controlling all these people? How does 5 people controlling 150 people in a tank? That happens. How does that happen? It's because they create social cliques, social classes, gangs, all kinds of whatever. And what that does, sorry about that. What that does is by creating those classes, it divides the people. And we have a lot of that going on in TikTok right now. And I started really seeing this with my own eyes. And actually, I'm quite offended. I'm quite offended at a lot of things that I hear from these people. And I say that because they haven't paid the dues I've paid. They haven't had the crap kicked out of them by a bunch of redneck cops and thinking they're gonna get away with it. They haven't been removed from their property. They haven't had their children taken from them. They haven't been humiliated publicly yet by these law enforcement people that try to hurt people, see? They haven't gone through that. And because that hasn't happened, everything that these people are saying is not tested. It's purely hearsay. It has no follow through. And I've been teaching privately for over 7 years. And I can tell you nobody in my group has ever gone to jail. Um, Nobody's ever gone to jail. We've never had trips from the FBI, or anything like that. Hey, brother, if you think I'm overthinking anything, just why don't you just keep flipping, man? Just keep moving on. Don't be a stumbling block. We don't, you know what? We just don't need it. You know, I mean, why don't you go hang out with Kenny? Y'all can comb each other's hair or something at the salon. Really, get on out of here, man. Now, I got to tell you, like I said, I've paid a lot of dues to get this knowledge. Okay. And I've had not one county, but 2 counties come after me at the same time. And you know what? I'm still standing. I don't know any other teacher out there that's teaching that can say that. I don't know any other teacher out there that can do it. And it's not about me tooting my own horn because the reason I'm standing is because of who I serve. I serve the King of Kings. I serve the Lord of Lords. And when his children are hurting, he comes. And the righteous can fall, 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 but we just keep getting right back up. And we just keep coming. These people that run out of gas, it's because they didn't bring Yahweh with them. They brought somebody else with them. They brought up some puffed up ego. You know what? I did that once when I was waking up. And I literally, and it was on a case. I was unpacking some files the other day, and I just saw this case and I read it. and we were right as rice. But you know what? I literally told Yahweh, "You know what? I got this. Like, it's okay. I don't even need to pray about it, Yahweh. I got this." Can you believe I said that? The most arrogant thing I could ever say. And you know what happened? My family got evicted from their house. Yeah, for no reason at all. Like, everything was wrong. They did everything wrong. But here's what they didn't do. They weren't able to overcome my UCC paperwork. That eviction never showed up on my credit report, not one time. So I'm gonna tell you that the stuff that we teach, it works. It's powerful. And it gives us an amount of grace that'll take you through the next round. So when I hear these little crackerjack people popping up, or I see a little young kid that's, had a driver's license less than a decade come out and start popping around with just looking ridiculous, by the way, and start teaching things, I'm going to tell you for the first few minutes, sounds pretty good. Stay on the call, you guys. Listen a little bit longer. Do your due diligence. I exposed I exposed the people that I expose because I have personal knowledge, because I actually looked, because I actually took the time, checked out, found out where things were, where things happened, and I made the right phone calls. That's what you have to do with any of these teachers. Check them, Google them, make sure there's not people after them. You know what? When in August, when I came back, when I came up on TikTok up in August, which I haven't been on TikTok very long, but when we set up on TikTok in August, I had a young lady, and I'm not going to say her name, and she was a teacher, but she came to me, sat in one of my class, sat in my UCC class, and she just said, "Tim, I've been doing it wrong this whole time, and I've been teaching people the wrong way the whole time." I'm not going to say who it is; doesn't matter. Brought me a ton of beautiful students. It would have been profitable to keep her on, but because when I Googled her name, I could see that she had a background. I could see, and I mean, public. People were just saying she's just ripping off people. I can't have people like that around me. I don't care if you're reformed or not. I just can't have people like that around me. And I've made it my ambition to keep my background and to keep my profile as a minister and as a teacher as clean and flawless as possible. I'm going to tell you, the FBI has crawled through all of my stuff. They've taken pictures of my guns. Oh, yeah. And I own guns legally, lawfully. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you anything is possible. This coming weekend, I have a travel and driving class, and this comes with credits. It comes with experience. My family and I packed up, put our stuff in storage because Yahweh told me to, and he did. And we got in the RV with the van and the foreign national license plates. Oh yeah, the DOT numbers, that whole process that they're talking about, a lot of people were talking about doing. I did it. Sorry, I gotta tune this up so I can see what they're doing. Bifocals. Dang it. No, I'm kidding. Progressive lenses, really. But so what I did was we did this. We traveled the country for 2.5 years to see if we'd get stopped, to see if we were gonna have any interactions. And while I did this, we were traveling around the country and I was teaching classes. People were talking to me and they were paying me too, for those of you guys that are all hard up about that. God forbid anybody get paid for doing any work. But you go to work and you want to get paid, right? Okay. Well, my classes are 6 hours long. That's work. I'm going to tell you what. That's not just a little discussion on the birds and the bees. It's a discussion. It's a long one. So these classes, I was doing these classes, and then when the 2 counties came after me, I stopped teaching because I didn't feel credible at the time. I didn't feel like it was right for me to continue to teach until there was victory. I got on my face, I humbled myself before my God, Yahweh, and I asked him to show me. And you know what he did? He destroyed my enemies. There's not a cop, not one cop, sheriff specifically, in Houston County, Texas. Okay, that's Crockett, Texas. So don't get it confused with Harris County, Texas. That's a big city. Crockett, Texas is a city with 7,000 people in it. So, but nevertheless, because of what they did and because of the fee schedules they activated, they all lost their jobs. They all cannot carry guns anymore. Um, and how did I do all this? Well, Yahweh told me to do it. He told me he would get me up in the middle of the night and he would tell me, you need to write this. And next thing you know, I'm writing motions. I'm writing this and I'm writing that. And I'm telling you, I can't spell for anything. But you know what? He can spell really well. And it just came out. And it made my enemies silent. And Yahweh started teaching me how to use equity. So those of you guys that are all huff puffy about the law, let me tell you something. You got half of the game pieces. Half of the game pieces. And it's not enough to win the game. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? Y'all see Kayla and Colby Fitz's video that was released? She spread it around to a lot of folks. I'm gonna probably pop it up on my page, but I'm gonna do some editing on it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And whoever taught these, and I know who taught them how to act this way, but they literally talked themselves into a jail cell because they were ignorant, because they got bad training, because somebody stirred them up and told them that they had all these rights and all these privileges and that, you're now the governor of the state of Texas and you can call the shots. I'm serious. This is how these people were talking, like they're the governor of the state of Texas. And that's not the case. They're in complete dishonor. So one of the things that I learned in my process was how much dishonor can you have in anything that you do in this process if you expect to win? 0. 0 is the number. 0 dishonor. Okay. So when you're listening to these teachers and you're waiting like 3 hours for them to talk about how to go buy a car with a 1099A, which is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. You can assess your purchase with a 1099A, but you cannot buy a car with a 1099A. It's an acquisition for abandoned property. To acquisition something means that you had it previously. So, no, you did not have the Corvette previously. You're showing up with those tax forms and you look stupid. And you know what? There's somebody sitting over there laughing at you and going, ha, 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 ha. Or they're like, oh, hey, guys, it doesn't work. Look what happened. I mean, seriously. And this is happening all over TikTok. Oh, hey, brother, send me another email, man. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I get a lot of crazy emails. Not saying yours are crazy. It just might have fallen through the cracks. Send it to emmett.damron@yahoo.com if you could. That's my personal email. Um, anyway, so I got to tell you, there's so much about the travel process. When I was listening to a certain somebody talking about his vehicle getting towed, him having a fictitious warrant that he got arrested on, and now he's saying that he didn't go to jail and he didn't get arrested. Whatever. Make up your mind, silly rabbit. Anyway, so it, and I'm hearing these processes, and we know that that's not how things are. Can I tell you, if you tell a lie, you can fill up a stadium. Let's say it again. If you tell a lie, a good one, you could fill up a stadium. And you know what it'll take to break up that stadium? One voice of truth, one flashlight of light. And you're supposed to be the light. If you serve Yahweh, you're supposed to be that light. You're supposed to be that voice crying out in the wilderness. That's you. You're supposed to be the witness. And how can we be the witness if we're living a lie? How can we do that if we're telling people to do things that we really don't know work or don't work? How can we really honestly do that, TikTok? And I think that's a problem. And in a weird kind of way, I look at it as kind of like stolen valor, like you didn't earn that privilege, Mr. Straight. You didn't. You're a studier of persons, but you didn't do it. But let's go back to that other rabbit thing. I'm going to tell you about the car. What happened? So let's talk about tonight's subject anyway. Let's get on subject. Okay. So let's talk about, your vehicle, okay? Number 1, when you buy your vehicle from the state, yeah, let's just snap the breath. Just get to it. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get to the point. So, when you buy your vehicle, there's an MSO, or when your vehicle was built and came into the United States or got shipped out of the factory, whatever, it had an MCO or an MSO. It's just a manufacturer's title, okay? And if you ever wanna see what one of those look like, just Google it. It's simple. It's an acronym. They both mean the same thing, and I think it at one time, an MCO would come in from the East Port, and an MSO would come from local builders only. But now, since you've got all this local, and, you got Mercedes being built here, and they're not American, but they're American built, now you've got all this commingling, everything's weird now. So now you just see MSOs and MCOs. How do I know this? I spent 22 years in the car business, and I ended my career as a F&I manager for 8 years. And I'm telling you, I've worked in every part of the car dealership you could imagine. I'm an ASC certified technician. I've worked as a service manager. Believe me, I thought that's where I was gonna die. I thought I'd probably just die in a trunk somewhere, I figured that was it. But nope, Yahweh had other plans, and we did greater things. So, this is where my credibility comes from, okay? Not out of the crack of my butt. It came from me. So, what happens is you've got this commerce transaction that happens at the dealership, okay? The reality is that nobody ever sends a check. Mm-mm. It never happens. I mean, not from their lenders, okay? So when they get done shotgunning your credit all over the world, and they've thrown it against every wall, digital wall that they can think of, and you've got so many inquiries on your credit report, now you can't go shopping anywhere else. They do that. So I recommend, if you do this, you do your own financing. Don't trust them to do nothing. And this is from an ex-finance manager. Why? Because we don't have any money to lend, and we don't know anything about loaning money. I don't care how many classes you take. It never gets in there. Anyway, so this car sits on the lot, okay? And what happens is you fill out an when you want to buy it, you fill out, or when you do buy it, you fill out an application for title, okay? And an application for title is, you are begging the state to take possession of your property to help you manage it through the state. And the consideration that they receive is they get what is called legal title to the vehicle, and you get what is called equitable title to your vehicle. Make sense? Yeah. So you can sell it, you can do whatever you want. Go drink it next Friday night in it, and they'll take it from you. Go drive around like Roger Rabbit over there does, with no insurance, and you know what? They're gonna take it from you. Why? Because it's their property. See, tow truck drivers get a special license. What's the definition of a license, everybody? It's to do something that you normally wouldn't be able to do, right? Well, the 10 commandments say thou shalt not steal, right? Okay. So they created a license so they could steal. Exactly. The Torah says thou shalt not kill, and what did they do? They created abortion laws. Why? So they could abort children. Why do you think there's so many derivatives of murder? Have you ever looked up how long the list of murder options there are? I mean, why can't we just say they whacked the guy and that's it? Well, because somebody wanted to get away with it. So here's the cliche: getting away with murder. Huh? Huh? We connecting the dots? See, that's experience. It's gray hair and experience. It's something these guys still playing with their pimples on their face are never going to get. It's going to take a long time. Telling you. Ah. So let's keep moving on. Anybody learn this in the David Straight conference that they paid $1,300 for? Probably not, because he don't know. But I'm telling you. So this is why your vehicle is worth less when it leaves the dealership. Yeah. It's because all you have is legal title. All you have is equitable title, and the state has legal title. And your car's on rent from the state. Gets better. Oh, does it get better? So this is why car dealerships have so much latitude. Have you ever noticed how many complaints car dealerships get? Like, the news shows up out there and they're like, "Oh, they're doing this at Jordan Ford, blah 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 blah," or whatever. That's my grandfather's dealership. I don't care. Anyway, My grandfather owns a dealership here or used to own a dealership here in, San Antonio, and it still bears his name, so that's just a little joke, but anyway, no pun intended, guys. Um, so what happens is that the consumer ends up taking it in the tail, basically, okay? That's what happens in a car deal. Here's another thing that happens. That security agreement that you signed, the bank never gets it. Doesn't ever get it. You wanna know the proof? Here's a report from my credit union from the vehicle I just paid off. And what did I ask him for? The original note. And what do these cuckoo birds give me? The copy. This isn't even a certified copy. You could have found this hovering around the garbage can at the dealership. This is no special privilege. And that's why some of you guys need to take my debt and foreclosure class. You want to learn how to foreclose on your lenders? Huh? I paid off my loan. They can't do anything to me now. Uh, you remember that all of your accounts are insured, right? How'd you guys like to learn about that little can of worms? Now, you guys missed it because last weekend, that's exactly what we had. We had a debt and foreclosure class, but this weekend we have travel and driving. So, another thing that happens is your vehicle gets titled after you beg the state. And you know how they ask you to check that thing if you're using it for commercial or non commercial uses? That's a legitimate question, but they don't care. They'll just check whatever box and then they just go do whatever and make you sign the application. That is because that security agreement goes to the treasury and gets cashed. This is why my bank doesn't have it. Ah, it's gone. So guess what happens when the note separates from the application? It's not enforceable anymore. So guess what you got? Somebody's in trouble. Now, what are you gonna do? Call in all the guns and take them to the people's court and beat them up with a gavel and throw the law books at them, or do what that other guy said and take the Black's Law Dictionary in there and just deposit the whole thing as evidence? You know what he didn't say about that, which I forgot to say, which was actually kind of funny, is that if you were to do that, the other parties in the case are entitled to receive the same service. So, boy, is his Kinko bill going to be expensive. He didn't think that through at all. Just saying. So, anytime you submit evidence to the court, you have to copy it and you have to give it to your other folks. So, if you were to take that guy's advice and take the anyway. So, what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people out there talking about these things and they're doing things to disqualify themselves constantly. Okay. So, I want to continue to keep talking about this status, okay? So now we know how the vehicle's bought. Hold on, James is asking you. So if I requested the original promissory note, it would be the original security agreement or the note. You don't want to say promissory note because that's a whole nother that's you're talking about something else. And they send me the note with my signature and then stamp it with their initials. No, that is legitimate. Yeah, that's fine. If it's stamped and it's in it and they put an authentication sheet on it, like these monkeys tried to do here, but it's not really legitimate because like nobody really signed for it. They just kind of just ran some papers off the fax machine and sent it to me. Losers. And now they're mad because I sent them a 1099 too. Yeah. Take my class. I'll show you guys how to take care of that too. So listen, it's a feeding frenzy. Remember I told you there's a lot of people making money on when you're buying these cars? So here's the thing. If you take my classes, you're going to learn how to work both sides of the table. And then you're okay with them doing all this because you know what you're going to do on your side and you're going to get you some too. Wouldn't that be nice? Doesn't that make the playing field a little bit more even? Absolutely. All right. How does one file a QSIP number? I don't know, bro. That's not the subject of this discussion tonight. Yep. That's just out there. Hey man, while you're thinking about that question about the QSIP, um, what are y'all having for dinner next week? Just type it in there and let me know. I mean, because that's about where that question was that you asked. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. Don't disrupt. It's not nice. So let's go back to this thing. So here's what happens. Okay. So you get stuck with the vehicle. a depreciating asset, by the way, and they get stuck with creating a bond. You ever seen a brand new title? Have you ever received a or have you ever seen a brand new, titled vehicle? It'll say up there there's a maturity date, and you know when that maturity date is? That's when the loan expires. Yeah, that's when the loan expires. So if you did a 72-month loan, that maturity date is boop, boop. Now what else matures besides girls? Huh? Bonds. And guess how much it's worth? MSRP. That's what they're doing. So what they're doing is they're using you as chattel, like a little hamster running around the thing and for 72 months and making payments. That's equity, by the way. And you're doing all this. Your vehicle in the meantime is becoming worth less, but that paper is going to be worth more. So maybe when you pay off your vehicles, you might want to get that unnegotiated title back from them because that's a security. Hmm. And if you take my class, I'll teach you how to deposit it after you pay off your vehicle. Would that be fun? Mm. We're talking about vehicle titles, Samurai. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about vehicle titles. All right. So getting back to this whole status. Now, the vehicle title comes out. Yeah, man, we all need to do that. Don't be leaving money on the table like that, James. Come on now. Think of how many more videos you can make with that. And you can make them in color this time. I'm just kidding. I like your videos in black and white. They're what's up. How much is my class? All right. If you guys are interested in signing up for the class, you need to have an interview with me first. I try to screen out all the wackos and the rainbow chasers and the 1099A people. I don't want to hear about that. Just go to my webpage, houseofyah.communityoutreach.com. Houseofyah.communityoutreach.com. And it's YAH, like Yahweh, House of Yah. My classes are $475 a class. They are 6 hours long, 2 days, 3 hours apiece. Yeah. We're not just gonna go sit around and talk for 30 minutes like these other guys do. And we're not gonna tell cute stories either. We're gonna tell you what works. There's a section that lets you add that info if we can click on it. I own my vehicles in a trust. Well, good for you. Good. That's good. It's a really bad idea to own your vehicles in trust, though. And here's why: because they're depreciating assets, and they make it's harder. It depends on what you're trying to do with your trust. So I don't know if you're trying to increase wealth with your trust. You never put a depreciating asset in it. You just need to put a general control over everything. So just saying, houses are good to put in trust, though. How can we truly free our people if we charge them? It makes us, hey, buddy, you want to come work at my house for 6 hours? Man, I could give you all kinds of stuff to do for 6 hours, and I could use the same terminology and tell you the same thing. Oh, hey, hey, man, I think it should be, you know how to do this so well, bro. You should come over and come clean my house for 6 hours and do it for free. Dude, I'm cheaper than a plumber. I'm cheaper than a traffic ticket and way cheaper than a lawyer. And the difference is I win. And I'm glad you guys and those of you guys that are watching this that teach, you know what? I watch you guys too. And I learn stuff from you guys too. So thank you for what you do. But those of you guys that are teaching stuff out there that you haven't done and you're still out in Disney World and you're thinking this stuff's really going to work because you just keep making it up at night when you're drinking that sovereign citizen moonshine, getting all stop it, please. There's just too much bad information out there. Way too much. So signing a UCC 1308 on your application when you finance to reserve your rights to the car. Well, what are you reserving your rights? What specific rights are you reserving? Gaston, answer me that. What specific? So UCC 1308 is a reservation of your common law rights. But if you're in a commercial environment doing a commercial transaction, how can you just walk in and just seriously, just think about that. How can you just walk in and say, "You know what? We're just gonna change the whole jurisdiction, all this, but I wanna enjoy all the things that you're offering." So what I'm saying is there's a safe way to contract. UCC 1308 works really good on certain things, but it's not like the magic spell that makes everybody tell the truth. It doesn't work that way. And your rights are already retained under all the banking laws. And once you authenticate those documents, excuse me, once you authenticate those documents and they're done, your rights are already reserved and they're set in stone and they're witnessed. So let me tell you, this is what they're not telling you about common law. Um, this is what they're not telling you about common law equity. See, common law is stuff that's done in the private, but in order to execute it, you've got to have witnesses. You've got to have you've got to have paperwork. You've got to have a paper trail. Okay. So back in the day, let me give you an example of that. Back in the day, people used to use the Bible for all of those sorts of documents. Why? Because it was a statement of truth. And so they felt like this is the holiest place to put it because this is where we put all the true stuff. Everything else sits with the TV guy. I don't know. But yes, Joshua, you get docs in my class. We get lots of docs. So you're going to get a ton of templates. And I'm not just going to throw them in your lap. We're going to go through every one of them. I'm going to show you how to fill them out, show you how to file them, show you where to file them. And then you get invited to into our group. So if you still have any problems or if it's years later and the roof comes crumbling down and maybe you're not as sharp as you used to be, you know what? We got people that are sharpening their sticks right now. We'll come in and help you. Tori's here. Tori's helps all kinds of people all the time. And James got a great call. He's on hashtag 903. He's helping people all the time. This is what we're supposed to do. This fire that you're feeling inside to stand up and say, "Hey, listen to me." That's Yahweh in you waking up. It wants you to shed all this stuff. It wants you to step out of this world because we don't belong in it. Have you noticed you don't fit very well in it? Have you noticed these people aren't very nice to you just like right off the get go? But then the next dude that walks in, "Oh, hey, what's happening?" And you're like, "What the hell?" If that's you, then there's an awakening that's changing inside of you. And the ones around you, they realize it, but they don't want to say anything. So awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you guys are all here too. Thank you for being on the call tonight. So here's the problem that happens with a lot of these guys with driving and traveling. This is where they really, really slip up. They want to exercise all their common law rights, but they're in commercial vehicles. I mean, a forklift going down the freeway is still inappropriate. I don't care how you cut it. I don't care. I don't care how many horns and lights it has on it. A forklift flying down the freeway at 60 miles an hour is absolutely and utterly ridiculous. Why? Because that's not what it's licensed to do. So these people that are talking about free travel and stuff like that, you better go get you a horse and buggy. Mhm. And then you can travel around like that, and you're right, then nobody will stop you and nobody will mess with you. But as long as you continue to drive these commercial vehicles around, the state's going to expect you to adhere to it. I'm telling you, experience. I'm the guy that did this, okay? I did the foreign national plates. I did it. Done it. It's happened. And not j and I mean, and I wasn't hiding either. I had a 30 plus foot RV and a van, both of them with these bright blue foreign national DOT plates on them. No kidding. All right, this is a good one. It says, "It doesn't matter what the license to do as long as you're not making profit." No, it does matter. You see, you're missing it, dude. It does matter. And you're just speaking from somebody else's programming. I'm speaking from you from real truth, and I'm sorry that we don't agree. I read all the UCC codes. I'm gonna tell you, and I've done it. Whatever you think you've done, brother, I've already done it. Whatever tickets you think you've beaten, dude, I've beat tickets all over this country quickly. That right, hashtag 903. So, and I'm glad you think you know these UCC codes, but you better know how to use them. And you're not going to use them in these little PP courts. It's not going to work that way. But you know what? You go on with that nut, man. You do. You go on with that. And when it all runs out and you lose your property and you're done making excuses and your family thinks you're nuts because of all the stuff you're losing, maybe you'll be humble enough to listen. Maybe you'll be humble enough to actually learn something, from somebody that's actually done something instead of butting heads with me and telling me how it is. Bro, you can't tell me how it is because I've been there, done that. And I mean, there's people on this call tonight that have known me long enough and knew me when I was on the road. Knew me back when I was right, Tori. We were back. You knew me when I was on the road and knew what I was doing. And I got not one ticket, not one time. Uh, how can you lose property that's in a trust? Please tell me. I don't know. You tell me how you lost property in a trust. I can't help you there. I'm sorry. That's just like an open-ended, loaded question with no real meat and potatoes on that one, but sorry. But listen, man, I think you've been distracting enough, and we're gonna continue on with what we're going on with the schedule here. So let's I know Tori was about to bump in and say something. I know. I could see the blood boiling over there. I know. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. You guys, man, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Anyway, so let's get back to this thing. So here's the problem is that people are traveling in things that they shouldn't be traveling in, and they're literally commingling public and private. Okay. So when you're taking private stuff or like UCC codes and you're taking all this private stuff that's all talked about in the private, and then you try to apply it to a commercial vehicle. Okay. Let me tell you, here's another example. You know that a semi truck can be titled as an RV. Did you know that? It sure can. It just depends on what its designation is. So, guess what happens if you're out traveling in a Peterbilt that's considered a commercial vehicle and you're doing leisurely stuff? You could actually get into some trouble, especially if you're not parked in the right places. Things like that. There's a lot of restrictions. Just depends on the state that you're in and things like that. But my point is this: you've got to change your designations. Now, in my class, one of the templates that we do is we give proper notice and public notice that no matter what's going on the public side, the private side doesn't require you to do it. And I've got tickets. Oh, I've had tickets for expired registration and they just get dismissed. I heard a really funny one this week. Somebody said something about some special signature now. It's some special case signature. It's like the W4 sandwich now. This is like some other nonsense floating around. Anyway, and allegedly this signature is something that is signed on your date, on the date that your birth or something like that. And it's your celestial birth signature or something, because you could sign stuff when you came out of the womb, apparently, or something dumb like that. And apparently, this thing is so super duper. I'll post the video on it on my TikTok channel. But it's so super duper that you can sign your ticket with it, and that's it. There's no more ticket. Come on, guys. Come on, TikTok. When you see something like that, say something, please. Don't just be like, oh well, because you know what? Somebody like that is gonna hurt somebody else. Those of you guys that are a little bit older and you know better, and you're seeing these little kids running around in 80s clothes, stop them. Say something. Tell them to wash their face. I don't know. Say something. You got to say something to them because their parents did a crap job raising them, clearly. And you know what? They need your help. You hear me? So when you start seeing these people doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, say something. Because if you're not saying something, you're part of the problem. Yeah. Like the ones that say, "Well, there's a lot of ways to getting it done." Well, which one do you know that gets it done? They don't know. Well, I know it's based on something, and we'll talk in circles. Hang up the phone. When you start seeing people like this in your life, get them out of your life. These people are called energy parasites. They will hurt you. You know, like I said,
Pastor Tim, Pastor Tim, I got a question.
go ahead.
That you were talking a moment ago.
Go ahead.
So what you're saying is that the contracts that we do when we first go to a dealership, the contract that we do on the dealership does
Hold on.
never arrive to the lender or the bank that it's going to.
Oh, it never goes to the lender. Never. They never see it. They don't have it. Uh-uh.
Wow.
That's a fact. Look, and I'm holding the paperwork right here. You guys can look at it right here. Just paid off my vehicle in December, and these idiots are still fine. I still don't even have a title to this thing yet. And look, I asked them for the note, and they sent me this copy nonsense. So you know what I did? I sent them a bill. And if they don't
Wow.
pay me, we'll forgive the debt at the end of the year, and they can pay the IRS, and then the IRS will pay me. Thank you very much. This is how we move in the private, guys. This is how you play both sides of the table. If you feel like you're getting duped, you assess it, you forgive it, barter it, you do something. But you can't just sit there and keep continuing to take these hits. None of us can. Is that right, brother?
Yeah, you're right.
So what we got to do is we got to be smarter than the game. Not cry and throw your toys in the toy box and say I don't want to play anymore. Did you beat me? Well, get your driver's license in order, and then you can start perfecting your travel. But right now you're in dishonor if that's what you got going on. Wow. Have I ever heard of a UCL trust Fort Lauderdale no. I haven't heard of anything. And let me tell you something about trusts. They're private and they're all custom. Every trust, they're all custom. They don't really have a particular format or template like an application to fill out. You got to remember that. Okay. And people that are offering to do your trust for you, I want to know you that I want to let you know that that's illegal. That's giving illegal advice. It really is. And this is why these people, a lot of these teachers, they'll make you try and sign, agreements to hold harmless agreements or, just all kinds of stupid agreements to basically reduce their liability. And of course, you don't ever know their name either. So, listen, guys, get away from those people. If these people can't use their own name, then they're liars. Simple. Have I heard of TJ Henderson, a trust guy? Nope. Nope. Haven't heard of those guys either. Thank you for asking, though. And maybe you should check out his call. Maybe he's got something cooking tonight. I don't know. But listen, so let's talk about how do we fix this? How do we fix this? How do we fix this big contract? Do we get rid of the driver's license and say we don't want to play anymore and throw our toys in the trash? Stupid. No. Shalom to you too, brother. No. That's a foolish thing to do. Anybody telling you to exit out of this system is foolish. These are people that are running from responsibility, okay? These are people that typically have bad credit. These are people that just can't cut it. These are people that have more excuses than they have successes. You need to stay away from these people. These people are ill. These people have They've suffered so much defeat and depression in their lives, they don't know how to process it. So what they're doing is they're projecting it, and they're trying to start, the little crybaby club so they can do this. That's not gonna get it done. It's not gonna get our country back. Here's what's gonna get our country back. You know why nobody in office tells the truth in public office? Do you know why? Because we can't. Do you know why people in public office are always stealing from people? Because there's people out here that are stealing from other people too. Yeah, they're stealing. They're giving them information that's not tested. They're giving them information that they don't even know personally. They're just repeating it from somebody else, like down the pipeline, like that little cup game when you used to play with the kid. Marshmallows. And then it comes back around and it's like strawberries. What? How did that happen? You know what I'm talking about, guys? And this is happening. This is happening in TikTok, and we're all playing the cup game. And I got to tell you guys, you need to weigh these people. Stop being so friendly. You need to really scrutinize these. You can scrutinize me too. You bet. You guys want to see proof? Ask. Have I taken care of warrants? Absolutely. I have had warrants issued as early as last year on me for stupid stuff. As somebody would say, they were fictitious warrants. Well, mine actually were kind of fictitious. They weren't really fictitious in the beginning, but if I decide to accept them and not return them, then guess what? They have cohesion under the rules of mailbox. Yeah, that's contracting. And they're going to move on that. Why? Because they have the privilege to do that. Silence is consent. That's right. That's right. It absolutely is. So what you need to do is you need to learn how to make them quiet. Come take my class. I'll teach you how to make them quiet. I'll teach you how to ask them things that they won't know how to answer. I'll make them default. Why? Because we know they're liars. You just got to play the game. You just got to play the game better than they do, guys. You got to learn both sides. Stop listening to these people that think they know something. You know what? If there's somebody out there and they're going to jail constantly, okay, and I'm not just talking about the rabbit, I'm talking about lots of people, okay? Or they're having continuous interactions with the police all the time that are unprovoked. I'm not talking about Jack Miller. Jack Miller goes and provokes that stuff with all the cops. That's different. He's an exception to the rule. But anybody else, you need to stay away from them because they're looking for a club. Yeah. And they want you to be part of that loser club. So that way when they go down, at least they'll have some company. Brother, I'd be happy to help you, man. Just jump on my webpage and make an appointment with me. It's House of Yah communityoutreach.com. Make an appointment with me. I'd be happy to talk with you. Happy to help you too. And I don't charge for that stuff. Okay. If you want me to go to work for you, I'm going to charge you. If you just want to talk and you want me to help you, you know what? That's what we do. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the difference. I don't know. But I hope it's the difference. All right, Caston, he says that you had a company that refused to provide him any paperwork. What kind of paperwork were you trying to get, and what was the name of or what kind of company? I need a little more help. That's really general. I got to tell you, the courts laugh at us because they know that we are disabled. They know that the public is disabled. Those of you guys that take my travel class, this is a book. This is required reading in my class. Get this book. See? Look, you guys aren't even in my class, and I'm just helping you out. Get this book. It's called Police Liability and Risk Management. This is a textbook. This is a book that they used to teach themselves how to take care of us. And let me tell you something. These people are programmed idiots. They're compartmentalized, programmed idiots. All of them. The clerks, All of them. So all you have to do is know what their training is and speak back to them, and they'll tell it on themselves. Here's a perfect example. One of my first students when we woke up, when I woke up, his name is Dominic. And those of you guys that take the class, I'll show you guys the video. It's hysterical. This guy would just constantly provoke, interactions with the police officers just to see what they would do to him. And surprisingly, nothing ever happened. But one of the things that we learned is that these little 70 IQ people really do respond well to programming. When you say stuff like, hey, there's no emergency going on, you need to turn those emergency lights off right now and get a supervisor. When you project that and it just comes out like that and it's liquid. I've seen 3 cops go back to their cop car to go turn off their lights and put on just the whites. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. That's knowing their training is key. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about in the travel class this weekend is their training. Why are they doing what they're doing? And I'm going to show you how to disarm their training. I'm going to show you how to shake them up so their programming will basically betray them. And once that happens, equity always wins. All right. Caston's got a better thing here. He says, I had a company refuse to provide me paperwork when I requested it. Sure, it was the water company and the documents refusing to discharge the debt and refused to accept the bill of exchange and refused to tell me why. Well, the reason why is because you haven't always been paying your bill that way. That's why. So now you've changed the terms of the contract. So now they're flipping out. Dude, I did this. Yep. HCR 192 says that we have to discharge, that all public debts are discharged, right? Everybody can agree on that, right? Out there in TikTok land, everybody agree on that? Well, who do you think is going to be doing the discharging? Do you think we just throw it up in the air like confetti and it just happens? I'm telling you, a lot of people think like that because they don't have an answer. It's your job to discharge the debt. It's your job to assess the debt. So if you don't assess it, you can't discharge it. That's not a proper discharge, though. That's an accepted for value. If you did it right, it's an accepted for value. I did that once, and I sent it to the and there's a very specific way to do it. And I don't want to tell people how to do it. I don't, because it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't work. And it's just not good information. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how, because I don't really know how to do it properly. I can tell you that I did do it and I sent it to him a certain kind of way and it went to the CFO and then it came back to me and I was able to show that they had accepted everything and everything was accepted. And it did not work on my electric, but it did work on my water bill. And I had about 6 months worth of water bills where it showed my balance was at 0. It would just go to 0 and it would go to 0. So it showed my amounts, but it showed the amount due was always 0. And then I got a statement that said I needed to pay like a penny, but then it still zeroed out the rest of my bill. Well, then I thought that was a trick or something, and I don't know. I guess I didn't respond right to it. But anyway, I still have to pay my water bill. But I have better ways to discharge it. And the way that you discharge things, let me just say something. Let me say something, you guys. Something that your teachers aren't telling you, okay? When you hear the word discharge, that means somebody went to the treasury and got paid. So when you talked about sending that note to them and you're saying that it got discharged, it didn't. And the reason that it didn't discharge is because it never went to the treasury. You didn't send it there. You may have filled it out to go to the treasury, but you didn't send it there and you didn't get the bank credits because you don't have the capacity to do that. That stuff is all fenced off. Okay. We got people that will do that for you if you'll just go down the right way. It's like we got this perfectly manicured sidewalk and you're out in the woods walking around tripping over acorns and stuff, man. Come on up here on the sidewalk, man. You'll see the path. It's a lot clearer than you think. And I'm just telling you, this is because people see cracks and pieces of truth and then they make assumptions about everything else. And that's that staying up all night drinking that sovereign citizen moonshine. That's what does it, man. People get all going, they start stirring each other's pots, and then, enough people start cussing and breathing, and then it's got to go. And you know what? That should be your exit to get out of the room. Just go. So wow. Check out your content. I've been illegally implanted and tortured for 10 years. Yeah. You should see my ex-wife. She's been tortured even longer than that because she's so bad and mean. All right. Caston's got something going on here. Yeah, there's a way to do this, Caston, and it's not this way. This isn't the way it's done. These public utilities have a different way to discharge things because they have different accesses to the treasury. And that's another discussion. It really is. That's a whole nother discussion. We're not going to talk about that tonight, but I'm going to close it up, man. I want to thank everybody for being here. My next trust class is going to be May the 11th and March the 11th and 12th. We have travel and driving coming up this Friday and Saturday night from 6 to 9 p.m. 2 nights. Thank you for sending me the email. It's too sweet. Thank you. I want to thank all of you guys for being here on the call. This is something I've been doing for 7 years, and I'm going to continue to do it. Yahweh has told me I need to do this, and I want to tell all of you guys, congratulations. Congratulations for the successes that you've had. Congratulations for waking up. Huh?
Pastor
But here's
Tim,
what.
before
ahead.
you leave, quick question.
Go ahead.
If I join your class Friday, I think we just saw that we might get paid on Wednesday or Thursday. Is it still too late to join this class for Friday?
Oh, no. You can come on in now. That's fine. We've already
All right,
talked, so you're good. You're good. You just come on in. You're good.
Roger that. Thank you very much, Mr. Tim.
Got it,
And
bud.
that was my question. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Well, thanks for everybody joining, and I just want to tell you guys, don't follow a man. Don't follow me. Follow the successes of a man. Follow the things that make that man successful. Okay? Because if you follow those things, you'll see the real nuggets in life. If you follow a man, all you're going to do is see his failures, and then you're going to cover up for him. You don't want to live like that. It's not honest. I want to thank you guys for being on the call tonight. Praise Yahweh for all the things that he does. Thank you all for your continued support, your donations, everything. Thank you so much. And I want you guys to take some time, check out my webpage, House of Yah Community Outreach. There's cops on there that do not have jobs anymore. You can look up their names. They don't have jobs anymore. This is real proof. You guys want to Google my name and Google my name. You'll see that I've been to the United States Supreme Court. I've been everywhere. And it's all been in the name of freedom. It's all been in the name of waking up. And I want you all to know that I support you. I support your endeavors in waking up, but do it honestly. Don't bring dishonor into the things that you do. Don't bring anything shady into this new life. Leave all that old stuff out there. That's where it's going to do its best work, right?
Right.
Yes. I have these are the Ray-Ban camera lights. Anyway. All right. You guys have a beautiful night. Good night, everyone. We'll see you
Can
guys
I
next
ask
week.
a question?
Yeah. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
Like as we all being American state nationals and we all declare our status, like when the government's too corrupt, like which we all know that the government's corrupt, and we feel that it's very unfair and unjust the way that they do the system because it's systematic racism, but everybody's
agree.
a slave up under the 14th Amendment. Now, if you really look at the Constitution, right, when they say you a U.S. citizen, right, and you say yes, you're agreeing that you're a corporation and you are an officer of the corporation as the United States Constitution. Like they basically saying that you're a corporation, so you owe your allegiance to pay taxes, to pay all of that.
So
I'm
where
letting
we
you
hold on, man. Where we headed with all this? Because we've all heard this before. We know. So where are we headed with all this? Like, really, what's the point?
have you have
Respectfully,
you have you ever got your Social Security KV trust? Have you ever
have
had
you?
access to it?
Have you?
No, not yet.
Yep. Yep. And I'm going to tell you what, if it was that easy to access your trust, like it's a credit card, like it's the black card, like it's any of this other rainbow chasing stuff, if it was that easy to do that, they would have taken it from us a long time ago. And you need to know
Correct.
that. You need to know that. So let me tell you how they're accessing your trust. And the only way they're accessing your trust, every time you hear the word discharge. When you hear the word discharge, think about all the places you hear the word discharge. That's when somebody is accessing your trust. So the way to access your trust, you personally, is to learn to discharge it through your trust. That means you gotta that means that corporate legal fiction, you need to learn how to manage it. Don't go bury it out in the backyard and leave it there. It's a very valuable security tool. It's not the devil. It is a fake entity, yes, but it's what they do here in Oz. And if this is all you know, then you know what? You're right. You are a slave if this is all you know. But my process, I'm trying to teach you how to use both sides of the board so you can do that. These guys that are this American State National, is this the Kenny Plaster, David Straight group? Is that where you're coming from on all that?
No.
Oh, because they say the very same thing. That's why I asked.
No, I have my own way of becoming who I am.
No, I'm just saying that's just kind of where that came from. A lot of them, that's exactly what they say. They say exactly that. I mean, like almost verbatim. Seriously, like you nailed it. Like good. So, I mean, and you're right, but we got to balance both sides of that. It's not about we're you know what, we're slaves to our minds. We're slaves to the limits of our intelligence and our capacities. That's what we're slaves to. So, changing your political status doesn't help you manage the status that you don't understand. I try to teach people how to manage the status, the legal fiction. And what we do is we disable the legal fiction and we put him in a position just like everybody else that's being harvested for out of their sex QV trust. And you should check out my webpage, brother. I think you'll really dig it. And I think you'll find some information that you'll really like. And I think you could really add to your portfolio on what you're doing there. Check it out.
Correct.
It's House of Yah communityoutreach.com.
Okay.
Okay, man?
Yeah, most definitely.
Pleasure meeting you, my brother. Really. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem.
All right, man. Hey, man, we're going to cut out. I'll see you next Monday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. You guys all have a super, super blessed evening. Give your significant others a nice big hug because she probably or he deserves it. Be blessed, everyone. Good night.